these older guys, and they don't want to commit. Or as my friend Ife would say, so they get to the point where they're starting to stare down hospice, and now they want wives because they want somebody to take care of them, on the way out, you know. So I don't know. I guess I don't know if I want to have a bigger conversation about this, because for me it marries and mirrors this whole conversation on interconnectivity with each other, and loneliness, and people longing for these deep, fulfilling relationships, and they're out in the desert, none to be found, none to be found. And I understand it, because I remember, just a few years ago, standing out in the desert like, gosh, I would love to be in a relationship. And then I just said, I'm gonna be in a relationship with myself. And I've always been in a relationship with myself, but like a real committed, I'm putting myself first at every turn kind of relationship. And I'm gonna tell you, I unless you can match me with me, I can't be bothered. Unless you can match me for me, I can't be bothered. I cannot. If you cannot hold, you know, deep conversations, get away from me. If you don't read books, get away from me. If you don't watch, various types of movies, don't waste your time on me. If you can't try different kinds of cuisine, stop talking to me. If your only drink is Hennessy, don't even talk to me. Because, here's the thing. I'm 62. I'm not in the re-education business. I think if you are at this age, you should have done some things, seen some things, tried some things. And it's never too late. It's just not too late to like, well, if I drink Hennessy, let me go and see what else is there to drink. Let me find out what this champagne life is about. Or let me see what it's like to eat Korean food, or Chinese food, or Japanese food, or or fusion, fusion of things, or some vegan food. Like, round yourself out. And that's what women want. Round yourself out. And have some get up and go about yourself. Like, don't get a woman who has to plan every damn thing. Oh my God. And because these men act so helpless. Ooh, I didn't want to make the plans. I can't make every now and again, you make some goddamn plans. Make some plans. Seriously. Even if it's dinner date, even if it's to a restaurant, even if it's to the movies, even if it's to a show. And I know lots of men who are very, very good at that. Who, hey baby, let's go do this thing. I know a lot of men like that. Because when you are in a relationship with somebody like that, those kinds of things make you feel really good. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of men and women who are in relationships who are like, let's go do this thing. When Aretha sings, hey baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere. Woo! That's the thing that women like, and men like it too. Men are just not as a lot of men are not just as vocal about the depth of their feelings, but men have feelings. I absolutely know. There's nothing worse than seeing a broken-hearted man. I'm gonna tell you. There's nothing worse than a broken-hearted man. So anyway, there's nothing worse than that. Nothing worse than that. So I get that everybody wants to be and in relationship to each other, and I get it. And I think what holds most people back, the majority of people, is that everybody wants to run away from heartache and heartbreak because they think it's going to be an endless thing. But if you've ever had your heart broken, it's not endless. You could wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm over that person. I know everybody doesn't like it because I get that people sort of like, I put myself out there, I pulled out all the stops. I was my vulnerable self, and then you get rejected. And that feels terrible. I get that. I get that. I get that, you know. But that's not enough to make you like that shouldn't be enough to make you not do it and not get out there. I know it's easy for me to say because I'm kind of fearless, you know. Um, it takes time to build that fearlessness muscle. Get to know yourself, and then when you get to know yourself, then you don't have to take anything that comes your way. You can be selective, and everybody can be selective. Everybody, just don't. You don't have to act like, oh, this is the best I can do. There's no. You don't have to accept that. Even if somebody comes at you with that foolishness, I'm the best that you're going to do. Don't believe that. That is not true. That is not true. You know. So I invite people to sort of, go. And I brought this all up because of that brother's post. And he's gonna get some pushback from people, like whatever. Um, uh, you know. I saw another guy who said, he's tired of these men talking about what do women bring to the table. He's like, I don't. He's like, what do I need a woman to bring anything to the table? I don't need women to bring anything to the table but their full selves, and do whatever they want to do. I don't need them. I don't need a woman for my bills and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And I appreciated that because that tit for tat foolishness, and I get that too because for me, and I'll say it again, it all boils down to people's fear of being rejected and the insecurity of not feeling good enough. That's all this is. This is all the drama. This is all of it. I was listening to Michelle Obama and her brother because they have a podcast, and it's really good. It's nice to listen to them talk to each other. It feels like how my sister and my brothers and when we get together we talk, except they're doing it in a very public way. And she was talking about she had said no to Barack so many times, like no, no, no. And then finally about 2 months, she was like, all right. And he took her out, and there's a whole movie about this in that one date that they had, and he planned a whole day for her. They went on a date, and it was the whole day. Like they took a walk in the park, they went to some museums, they had ice cream, they heard some music somewhere. I mean, it was a whole day. And that was impressive. There's a whole movie about it. If you it might be on Netflix. I forgot what it's called, but I remember watching it. And I remember thinking, oh, because I'm a sucker for a romantic turn, right? I love a good romantic turn. And I think people don't. Here's another thing about romance. People think that they don't know how to be romantic. They don't think they know how, and you do. You've learned how to be romantic from kindergarten. When you had to make cards for everybody in the class for Valentine's Day, and you had to make something special for your mom for Mother's Day, right? Like that is romance. It is the expression of love. That's all romance is. The expression of I'm open to love. I receive it, I give it, I surround myself with it. So you've learned this in kindergarten, how to be romantic. You've learned this. We've all learned it. But somehow or other, we beat it out of ourselves as we harden up, as we grow up. We harden, you know. And we think we don't know how to tap into our soft sides. And that's what romance is. It's just your soft side, just the softer side. So more people are more romantic than they give themselves credit for. Because people have in their head, they think romance is just one sort of thing, one way, and it's not. Romance can be whatever can be kind gestures, you know, that kind of stuff. Kind gestures are quite romantic, you know. And you do them because you want them done, not because you want to be acknowledged for doing kind things. You should always do kind things because you are a kind person, not because you're seeking some accolades. Like if I did stuff because I wanted accolades, I wouldn't have a damn thing. So we know how to be romantic. We do. And I know people think, no, I don't know what she likes. I don't know what he likes. Nah, nah, nah. You do. You know, think about what you would enjoy. And sometimes people think that's a trap. Well, if I enjoy this, how will I know? Because if you're talking with somebody or trying to invite somebody into your space, they will see that as a real plus. You inviting them into a romantic space of your own creation, of your own imagination. They will be they will find that joyful. You know, they will find it quite joyful. I'm very romantic with my friends. You know, I like to cook with them, eat with them. I like to go to shows with them. I like to do all kinds of stuff with them, you know, and that's the romance of it all for me. Uh, so I don't save romance for somebody. I am romantic with myself all the time. Like I just live in a constant state of romance, you know. And I have to remind myself to stay in that space. You know, it's nothing for me to pick up, you know, my favorite flowers or read some poetry or, you know, buy soft things that I like around me, you know, put on perfume or, you know, these are the things that I find that create my romantic life. Everybody has a different thing. But the thing is, you have to tune in to figure out what that is for yourself. You know, and I get it. There's a lot of examples in society of romance. You know, I mean, there's enough rom-com movies out there. There's a lot of things, and that colors your awareness and all of that. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You could do something very, very different. You know, you could do something very, very different. You know, one week you do something that you like, and then you invite that person to experience and share that, and then the next time you do something that you know that they absolutely love, and you do that, you know. Or you, when I was married, my husband used to leave me little notes. He used to leave me little notes on the car uh uh or in my or in jacket pockets, so I put on a jacket. I was like, oh, here's a little note, you know, sweet stuff like that, you know. And it just it warmed my heart a great deal. And I thought that was just like sweet, you know. And I did romantic things for him too, you know. Uh, it took us a good while to get into the rhythm of what romance was for each other, because for him, he just felt like, and it wasn't until the end that he really started to understand my thinking about what romance is. Because in the beginning, I would do these romantic gestures, and he would immediately run out and get me something because he was trying to like keep up, or I guess he was trying to keep up, which I don't know what that means, you know. So if I got him something, he would get me something, but he would do it. He wouldn't do it joyously. It felt it for him. It was like a chore. It was like a chore, you know. And the only time that he was excited to really do it was on those, you know, those the holidays that say, you know, Christmas and my birthday and Valentine's Day, right? That's those were the three stress points. And he would, you know, and I would say, my friends would say, I remember one time he called my sister and he was like, "Oh, I'm struggling to get Babz something for her for this and that and the other thing." And my sister would say, "You know what you could do? There's a particular kind of paper that she likes. Have it embossed with her name or her initials." And he just thought that was the most ridiculous thing. He was like, "I'm not giving her no paper for her birthday." And my sister was like, "No, no. She would love that. And then you pair it with a beautiful writing pen, like a Mont Blanc or something. And he just was like, hmm. He didn't. It took him a long time to uh to come around to that. And then he did buy me a Mont Blanc pen when I graduated with my master's, when I got my master's. And I was so delighted by that. And some beautiful paper. And and I could see that he thought I was doing this wrong all this time. All this time I was doing this wrong. And he kind of said that too. He kind of said it. But he just was so. That's what I mean. People can work themselves up into a state around what they think is appropriate or enough. See, in my ex-husband's mind, these small gifts didn't seem enough. He wanted expensive gifts. Like I got an emerald tennis bracelet, I've got diamond ring, I got all kinds of stuff like that. But it was the Mont Blanc pen and the crane paper that just sent me to the moon. And I think people put too much they put too much emphasis on what they think is good enough. Do you know what I mean? Uh, and so I think if people could settle down in their minds, in their hearts, in their spirits, and and uh, and 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 think about what it was like to be a little kid making cards and notes for your mom or the little person in your class that you just was sweet on, and what that meant for you to sort of craft something with your own hands and think lovingly about it. That's how you get to the place of romance. You have to sort of say, ah, what would be sweet? What would be the sweetest thing that I could do for this person? What would I do? You know, picnic in the park, yeah. A museum, a tour through a museum, a talk. And romance does not have to be 8 dozen roses for $1,000. It's pretty. I mean, but that's in and of itself is not it. You know. Some of the sweetest things are some of the freest things. Speaking of, I need to make my way up to the Rose Garden in Hartford. I think it's the Wadsworth. No, 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 no. What is the Rose Garden in Hartford? I think it's the oldest public rose garden in the country. When I used to work in Hartford, I used to go there often because I could walk there from the office, and we have a rose garden here in New Haven at the base of East Rock, on the backside of State Street, and I remember coming across it only because my daughter went to the Elizabeth Park Rose Garden. My daughter went to there's a little water school over there. They had an agricultural component to the school, and she was in that. So they spent time over there at the Rose Garden, and yeah. So I used to spend a lot of time in the Rose Garden. I've had picnics in the Rose Garden, and it's one of my favorite things. I just love it there. And uh, so it's time to probably go now, uh, to the Rose Garden. Although it's been cool, like cool, like the last few days, weeks have been wet and cold. But maybe make my way over to the New Haven Rose Garden because roses should be blooming now. So many things are blooming. So I should go over and see what's going on. But I would like to get myself up to Hartford, to the Elizabeth Park, West Hartford, the Elizabeth Park Rose Garden. I haven't been there in years and years and years and years and years. So maybe I'll make some time to go walk the grounds and, you know, be in that moment because I, uh, I love that. And when you get to the rose garden, you could smell it before you get there. You know, you could smell it before you get there, and it is just you know a wonderful thing. It just you know, it's like when you go to there's a farm here in Connecticut that uh what is it? The lavender farm. There's a lavender farm that we discovered a few years back. And as soon as you get out of your car, the lavender just hits you. And it is so you immediately go into a state of relaxation. And it's lavender for miles and miles and miles and miles. And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And so when you go in the little gift shop, you can buy lavender chocolate, lavender infused soap, lavender sachets. So my little library, Lauren put in lavender plants and little cherry tomato plants. Well, I never got to eat the cherry tomatoes because I guess the squirrels felt like I was just trying to do them a kindness because they spent their time eating the cherry tomatoes. I was like, okay, all right, uh, uh, all right. So, but the lavender, she's gonna come back and tend to. I love lavender. I have lavender sachets. It's pretty nice, pretty damn nice. So, all these wonderful things, all these wonderful things. So anyway, get yourself to the to the Rose Garden. The New Haven Rose Garden is called the Pardee Rose Garden, and it's at the base on the backside of East Rock, and it's beautiful. And I believe it used to be a much bigger rose garden than it is. There's a history. If you go in the building, it'll tell you. It'll tell you the history of it. Well, it's considered in Hamden, but it's a New Haven Rose Garden. It's part of New Haven Parks and Rec. And it's the Pardee Rose Garden and Greenhouse and Center, 180 Park Road in Hamden, at the intersection of Park Drive and Farm Road in Hamden. It's a beautiful space. And the greenhouse is open to the public, so you go in there. They always have orchids in there, stuff like that. It is open from dawn to dusk. So it's a pretty space. There are restrooms. No, they don't have access. The public can't use the bathrooms. So, but there is a bathroom in the building. You could ask to use it. I think they try to frown on that. And sometimes they sell plants because I remember my daughter was selling poinsettias. So I bought poinsettias to support her. And so yeah, so they should be in full bloom now. So there's annuals, perennials, herbs, and it's not just roses. I mean, majority of things are roses, but they have stuff that start blooming, early spring, and then into the fall, things are blooming. So But I need to make my way over there. I don't know if I could do it today. Uh, I've got stuff to do, and but you should always take time to stop and smell the roses. And if you've not been over there, it's a wonderful place. Just put in party, Pardee, in your GPS. It'll get you right there. And you can just walk the ground and it'll just smell wonderful. So maybe I'll find a little time today to get a little rose garden going, a little hint of rose garden. I mean, since I could drive to Hartford, but I'm not today, West Hartford today. This is a trip that I have to plan, because, it's a commitment of time. And I don't want to just go up there and be like, okay, 5 minutes, I saw it. Like, I would like to spend a little meditative time up there, you know. But since I love the New Haven Party Rose Garden, I might find my way there this week. I'll keep you posted. See, so all of this started with a conversation about how to be in a relationship with people, and then romance and expectation and worth and being enough or not enough and insecurities and vulnerabilities. All those things, all the human emotions, all the things that make us human, all the things that could really bring us together if we just allow a little bit of opening, let your heart open a little bit. I know for some people that kind of vulnerability will let in and invite trouble. Some people think that way. If I open up too much, I invite, element that I don't want, or, I don't want to be taken advantage of, or I don't want to be made a fool of, And I hear that. I'm not dismissing that either, because with vulnerability comes risk. With being vulnerable comes with risk, and some people are risk averse. It's like, nope. I'd rather have the wall around me than a wide open space. Because at least with the wall, I feel somewhat protected. If I have open space, I it's too much, And I see it with people. I see it, and I get it. I understand it, I see it and I understand it, But if there's an opportunity for you to get into wide open spaces, literally, figuratively, emotionally, spiritually, then try it. Doesn't mean you have to live there, but give it a chance. Give some wide openness to your heart and your mind and your spirit. Just, I'm not trying to tell you to live there. I'm not trying to tell you to stay hours there, but try it on for a few minutes. See what it's like. Come out from behind the wall and give yourself some room to grow. So I'm going to take a break. I'll be back. I'll tell you who's coming on the show tomorrow. We got some good guests tomorrow. I got the cast from Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and the sister who's getting the Visionary Award from the Festival of Arts and Ideas tomorrow. She's going to be the guest with her circus Minty Fresh. So, but I'll talk more. I'll be back.
Moment